So we're on our way to our meeting with Min2 today, and he's a friend of Bas van Ondorp, which we have interviewed earlier. So Min2 is the managing director of Energy Solutions, and as an expert, he has experience in all over the world. So in this vlog, we'll be showing you some of the highlights of the footage we took from the interview.
But I was wondering, how long have you been living here?
I've been paying taxes here 16 years.
16 years. Yeah. You
I
know a
choose
lot
the
about
word.
Singapore.
I know a lot of the country because I'm very curious and I read a lot of books. I was telling her I used to go down to Vlissingen 3-4 times a year. I pay tax here. I haven't always lived here, but I've always employed myself out of Singapore because tax is very cheap. Building a country is like building a business, right? Singapore, they call it Singapore, it runs like a business. They call it Singapore Inc. Incorporation. It is, everything is money. There is no public service. I mean, there is public service, it costs you money. This is the only country, public transportation system makes well over $100 million in net profit. In this country, you can make a law in 2 days.
Oh yeah.
Really?
2 days.
You can't do that.
No,
in the
Netherlands.
Netherlands.
You can't even put an idea of a law in 2 months, let alone making one.
No.
Here, they can do, start to finish, the law becomes legal, 2-3 years maximum. Singapore would fit in to London or Greater London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And out of the 5.6 million people, I think 3 million are foreigners. So there are less locals. Yeah, Singapore is, it's in Asia, but it isn't quite Asian.
Yeah.
And it's a very pro-Caucasian country.
It's very Western.
Very pro-Western.
Yeah. Living here is very expensive, and do you think that is the main reason why people here are stressed, or
The financial pressure.
yeah?
You can see it, right? You can feel it. So when you walk down the street, everybody is fast-paced, rushing. They're not aware of. If you observe the locals, they've got like, you know what the blinkers are, yeah? You know,
Yeah.
the horses, right?
Yeah, the horse.
We call them. They've got the blinkers on. So it's very robotic, very point A to point B. There is no courtesy. People won't hold the door for you. People won't open the door for you. And you will notice all of the. And when I first arrived, I find them very, very rude. And I still find them very, very rude. In my culture, when you see a girl, you open the door, you hold the door, you go. Here, you know, you come in the lobby, right? And if there is a Chinese person in front of you, I'm not saying that they are rude, but it just, the brain doesn't allow them to think that. It's not in their nature, or they don't have the privilege of, you know, if I am opening the door to come to the lift lobby, I can see in my corner of the eye, I've got people behind. I will either open the door very wide, or I will stand there and hold the door for you guys to come in and I'll let go. That's normal. Did you do that? I do that. Nowadays, I wouldn't say none. 80% won't do that. And in the morning, everybody comes in, wired up, phone in their hand. There is no good morning, how's it going? None of these. And even if you do greet them, they look at you like funny.
Why you're talking to me?
Exactly.
I don't know.
It's like that.
Yeah.
It's not that they are doing it on purpose. It's just that they're functioned and they're wired. They're so functional people.
But for them, it's very normal to do it in that way. It's not.
Yeah, because nothing else matters. I need to do this. I need to do this. I got to pay the mortgage. I got to do this. You know, they have that.
Yeah. More self-orientated.
Yeah, it's self-centered.
Yeah.
You got to be able to join the dots. Logical thinking, thinking out of the box, seeing from the higher perspective, being able to join the dots, and etc. 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 Right? And that is something Singaporeans are very, very poor at. They can't join the dots. But within the dot, man, they're very good. So people here generally are very stressed, and only in the last 5 years, I'd say a lot of the people are beginning to get a lot more involved with things like environmental issues, taking a walk in the nature, is cycling. You know, there's government is beginning to promote these things recently. So, and Singapore was voted the most unhappy nation on earth. Are you aware of it?
Yeah.
So obviously there is a lot of correlation between that and being stressed out and things like that. So a lot of stress level here, but it depends on how you handle it. I mean, talk about stress. I mean, I should be very, very stressed out. What do they do? They do a lot of things like they go down to the East Coast beach, they sit down, they walk about, they have a lot of indoor sports. Sports is becoming a lot more, a lot more traction. They're getting a lot more traction with the sport, like yoga. They do a lot of yoga these days, and you very often see outside the shopping center aunties and uncles, I mean, 50 and 65, wearing cowboy boots and doing line dancing. And they do shopping. I mean, I don't mean in a joke. They actually go into the shopping mall to relax. I can't do that. For me to relax, I got to be on the beach or somewhere without anybody around.
You visit nature
Yeah.
to relax. Okay.
So, and I meditate a lot. That's
Okay.
because I'm Buddhist. I come from Burma. That was something that we were taught since we were like 5 years, 6 years, 7 years old.
Yeah.
So I do that quite a lot every day in the morning. So it depends on the individual, but they are now becoming more and more aware of benefits of active lifestyle and going outside. And
When you have the working days here, working days in Singapore tend to be the longest, I think, of the world.
yeah,
How do you think that affects the stress level of people? Because you're basically 24/7 working or sleeping to recover to go back to work again, if I got it correctly here.
some people I know put in long hours. It is their way of dealing with the stress. Because when they are, it sounds like a joke. It's not.
Sounds
So
like a circle.
No, it's not. They're blocking everything else out.
Yeah.
They're blocking other problems out. I mean, here I'm working. They're trying to be single-minded. So while they're doing that, they have less chances of thinking other existing problems. And I know some people who do that. So that is the way of managing it. I mean, that's 200 miles away from me. My way of dealing with stress is very, very, I want to be out there in the park or just sitting down watching the birds or reading a book or just nothing, looking at the sky. That to me is nice. But obviously there are some people who do exactly what you mentioned, is their way of handling the stress.
Yeah.
So,
How should they handle stress?
like me, I don't know. I don't know. There is no one answer to it. There is no right or wrong answer to it. Every answer is right, every answer is wrong. And you have to try it out. And I think a lot of it is coming back to it is lack of non-prejudice, equal interaction with all walks of society.